What's up, my friends? Coach Tom here, coming back with a little follow-up episode to last week. First off, I hope everybody has had a successful weekend, a happy weekend. I hope you're feeling recharged, ready to conquer a new week. We're moving into the end of October, moving into the final 2 months of the year, which I know is when people struggle the most. They fall off the wagon, and 10 months of hard work usually just goes right down the drain. And I'm hoping by providing these knowledge bombs like I'm about to do today can keep you from falling into that trap. And I hope you spend the next 2 months setting yourself up for success, maybe taking small steps that put you in a position to win in 2023 and come out ahead, so you're not just scrambling to come up with some New Year's resolution that's gonna drop after the first month or two of the year. So hope you're recharged, I hope you're refreshed, and sit back, relax, because we're gonna talk a little bit about protein today. And I know a lot of people struggle with getting enough protein in, knowing how much protein is enough, thinking they get enough protein in. Those are all the things I'm going to touch on today. So number one, last week we talked about identifying your total daily energy expenditure. Hopefully you did your homework. You went out to tdeecalculator.net and you let the system do the math for you. Hopefully you've got some starting numbers that you can work with today. If you don't, rewind, head back to last week's episode, and get the knowledge, figure out those numbers so we can get started. Most people, I think, are listening right now because they want to lose weight, and that means we got to create a calorie deficit. So we talked about decreasing those numbers. If you're looking for a surplus, don't worry, your protein numbers aren't going to change in surplus or deficit. They'll change a little bit individually and based on what your numbers were, but we're going to use the same math for both. So once you've got those numbers set, your TDEE and your deficit, you now know where your calories need to be. That being said, the standard for protein, you're gonna wanna keep it at 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body fat. So like we said last week, I weigh 205 pounds right now. Good rule of thumb for me is to get in 205 grams of protein. Simple as that. Now, let's complicate it a little bit. If you're somebody who sits on your butt all day, sits on your ass, you're lazy, you sit behind a computer, you come home, you lay on the couch, you don't do much, you're not out there walking the dog. That's why Coda's tired and I'm looking a little disheveled. It's warm out there and we just gotta walk in. If you're somebody who's not doing those things, you can skew closer to that 0.8 number. You're not creating a ton of metabolic stress, you're not, taxing your muscles, so you don't need as many building blocks, you don't need to rebuild as much. So the protein, it's not needed as much. 1 gram, that's my bare minimum. I threw that number out there, 205, because the math is really easy. 1 gram per pound of body weight. I weigh 205 pounds, 1 gram for that. If my phone wasn't plugged in recording me right now, I would do the math on something else. Actually, I'm on my computer so I can pull it in as well. Me, and most of you that are listening today, because I know you through a gym, or I know you from meeting you at a gym, or you're a fitness person, you work out nonstop, you work out religiously, I am gonna recommend you to be closer to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. You're putting in the work, you wanna rebuild the muscle. Rebuilding muscle is one of the most important parts of fat loss. Build more muscle, you're gonna supercharge your metabolism. It takes calories to build and sustain muscle. The more muscle you have, the more calories you're gonna burn, the stronger, the healthier your metabolism is, and the stronger and healthier you are, and that is the end goal here. So looking at that 1.2, we said I weigh 205. We're gonna multiply that by 1.2. 246 grams of protein. Easy peasy. Now we have a number to start with. That is my protein goal. That is actually what I'm taking in. I take in about 250 to occasionally up to 300 grams of protein. I'm not one of those people who says, oh my God, any more protein than that, your body can't digest it. I don't believe that. I think that is bro science. I think bro science is a bullshit. And I think you should throw that out the window. More protein is not going to kill you. If you're only eating protein, you may see some issues. If you're only eating certain types of protein, you may have some digestive issues. But me skewing up towards 300 grams of protein any day, I haven't had an issue with it. I feel great, I look great, and I'm not complaining about the numbers on the scale. I'm not complaining about what I see in the mirror, so I'm happy there. But a general rule of thumb, 0.8 if you're on, I hate to use the term, if you're on the lazier side, the sedentary side, 0.8 is going to do the trick. 1.0, good enough to get by if you're a workout warrior, if you're somebody out there putting in the work. 1.2. Figure out that protein number and then start doing some math. Get an app like MyFitnessPal, any kind of food tracker, and assess what you're actually taking in. I won't, when I do initial consultations, I won't work with you unless you can provide me 1 full week of your meals. And that involves tracking everything. I'm talking about the creamer in your coffee, the sugar in your coffee, everything that goes through your mouth and you digest in a day. I need to know about it. I want to know about it. It's going to help set me up for success. It's going to help set you up for success because we're going to have all of the information. So if you haven't done this yet, download MyFitnessPal, something similar. There's hundreds of apps out there like it now, hundreds of copycats. MyFitnessPal is just the OG. That's why I recommend it. Download it, put in the numbers for minimum of 5, preferably 7 days. I like 7 because the 5 that you track are going to be Monday through Friday, and you're going to jack up your Saturday and Sunday, and that's fine. We'll talk about that another day. It's okay to screw up over the weekend, and it's not even screwing up. Don't forget I use that term, but it's okay to embrace the weekends, enjoy them, and just go a little overboard because I do that all the time. We just had a house party, and I had about 15 people over here, our first housewarming party, and I ate. Everybody's at my house. I had a little, host anxiety, and I was just, eating all the food, and my wife did a phenomenal job, Kim, setting everything up, so I was eating everything, but we're getting off track now. So, track 7 days. I'm going to put some money down right now. I'm willing to take a bet. You're not eating enough protein. Take that number that MyFitnessPal gave you on your protein for the week and shoot me in the comments at the end of this week if you were below, at, or above your goal, whatever that math is from before that, 0.8, 1, 1.2, anywhere in between. I'm willing to bet you're below. 90 to 95% of the people that I have do this exercise where we look at their calories for a week are nowhere near the protein they should be getting. And I don't know if it's just because carbs are fucking delicious, or maybe you're a vegetarian and it's hard to find protein sources. So that's the next thing I'm going to dive into. If we were to take a walk 15, 20 feet right now to my supplement closet, I keep two proteins in there. I have a sustained release whey protein and I have a quicker digesting whey protein. That's easy for me. I generally will take 2 scoops a day. So we're saying I take about, what was my protein number before? 295. That seems, was that my same math? 295. That seems like a lot. But besides the point. It's hard to get in all of it. I do eat a lot of meat. If you see me grazing throughout the day, that's why. And I forgot where I was going with that. It happens. I get distracted. But whey protein, that's one of my go-tos. So I eat 2 scoops of that within 30 to 60 minutes of a workout. I'm not as religious as I used to be on that. And we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. But it's easy for me because it knocks out 50 off that number. I only got to get another 250 in by the end of the day. And if I need to, if I'm falling short, again, I have 2 jugs of it in there, 2 different flavors. Lunar Pie, my current favorite, and my OG favorite, Magical Charms, both by First Form. Delicious, doesn't give me digestive issues. I'll throw a link to that in the comments today, just so you can all check that out. But other protein sources, and I'm going to give a little tidbit on each of those as we go through. Almonds, great. Small dose of protein, but it's a little chunk towards your goal every day. Fats can get a little high, so you got to watch out on that. We'll dive into tracking fats and carbs and what those numbers should look like, but keep an eye on that. If almonds are in your mix, bacon, it's going to be the same thing. Bison's great, especially 90% lean, 10% fat. Bison's great. 95, you can find it. 99, even better, because you're really just messing with the protein macro at that point, and you're not messing with carbs or fat. They're going to stay on the very low end, and they're not going to skew out your other macros. And that's a lot of it is figuring out that math. Ground beef, I'd like to stick with grass-fed. There's so many health benefits to it. I could dig into that for probably 3 hours, but I don't want to keep you more than 20 minutes today. I said 5 to 10 and we're already at 10. So chicken, we all know, like, chicken is the go-to. You talk to any of the bodybuilding guys I know and it's, what's your diet? Chicken, rice, broccoli. You guys eat the same thing almost every day for every meal. It's nuts. Glad I'm not on that life anymore. Cottage cheese, not my favorite, but it is another way to hit that protein macro. Duck, you know, you're catching the drift here. A lot of poultry and a lot of beef type foods on there. Eggs again, we're gonna skew the fat up, but egg whites on the other hand, we were at Costco last week and I'm kicking myself in the rear end because they sell these pre-made like the little milk cartons of egg whites, and I was at a point month or two ago where I was trying to get myself really on track with my diet, and I was pouring half of one of those in every day, and it was just another 25 grams of protein into my shake. At that point, I was getting 75 grams of protein right from that morning shake or post-workout shake, and I was doing the trick. Fish, again, if you look at your white fish, you're gonna be on the lower fat end. If you start looking at things like salmon, it's gonna be on the higher end. Greek yogurt, tasty, it's a snack. That's another one where if I'm looking at that third serving of protein, yes, my Greek yogurt might give me 12 grams of protein, but I also throw in another 25 grams of my whey protein into the mix, and now we're cooking. I've got 12 plus 25, I'm at 37 grams of protein from one little snacky meal, usually one of the last things I eat at night because it's freaking delicious, and I have a sweet tooth and a snack tooth, so that helps with that. Ham, protein, but also good amount of fat. Lamb, we're in the same thing, a little less fat than your ham's gonna be. Pork, again, higher end on the fat, so be careful. Salmon, talking about that redfish again, higher end on the fat. Scallops, a little lower on the fat, good on the protein. Same goes for shrimp. Steak, I love shrimp. I love steak just because we're talking about ground-fed grass beef before. So many benefits on the nutrients in there for your hormones, and the hormones that you'll get from steak. I'm gonna dive in another time on that because there's so many nutrients. I shouldn't have said hormones. Nutrients in there that will benefit your hormones, and that's what you want. You want to optimize your hormones through your diet. Swordfish, tilapia, tuna. We're back on those lean fishes, and turkey. Turkey. I mean, if the bodybuilding dudes ain't eating chicken, they ain't turkey. So those are some of my go-tos, my favorites. It's just a small list. Set up your grocery list. This should be at the top, your proteins. Make sure you're figuring out what you need to eat on proteins. Get a food scale and start measuring things out. If you're eating less, that's the first number I want you to play with. I don't want you to worry about carbs or fat. Let's get your protein right. Let's take 2 or 3 weeks where you're really nailing the protein numbers, and then we'll look at fats and carbs and we'll go from there. Especially if you're working out. We need to rebuild muscle to lose fat. Now, I'm gonna hit on one last thing. I wanna get you out of here by like 15 minutes. For this one, protein timing. I talked a little bit about bro science before, and oh my God, there's so much bro science that you need to get. You gotta get 25 grams of protein immediately after you work out, or you're gonna lose all of your gains. Look, you're not gonna lose all your gains. Your body is still digesting protein from your previous meal, from your breakfast. There's still protein in your body. It's not, oh my God, I need to chug this. Like, oh, watch guys, like, I keep one with me after I work out because I'm fucking hungry after I work out and I want something immediately. It's not end of the world if you don't eat. Don't go and starve yourself for 18 hours after a workout. That's the other end of the spectrum. I talk to people that, I'm doing intermittent fasting. I'm doing intermittent fasting here, and I work out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I can't have my first meal until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, all right, now this is a problem. We want some protein source around our meal, but it does not have to be 5 minutes to 30 minutes after. No one's gonna die. You don't need to run into the gas station, run into Wawa and like down a Quest bar. Quest bar's tasty. If you want to down it, you can down it. I mean, I'm not gonna fight with you on that, but it doesn't have to be 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. You're not gonna lose all your gains. It's just not gonna happen. I do recommend, maybe getting a little protein and carbs before your workout. That way you have some sustained fuel as your body's going through things, but throw that bro science out the window. Next week, we will dive into carbs. My favorite. I love carbs. Carbs made me, can either make you a muscular Adonis or they can give you the worst body of your dreams, the one you never wanted, and which is probably why you're listening to me right now and hopefully trying to get a little clarity on your nutrition. Leave it in the comments. Leave your questions. Leave anything you want. I got a special guest coming on with me this week. We're going to do a little live. Friend of mine, I took a look at her macros and I think they're great. And I just want to, see if we can make them a little better, see if we can figure things out to help with progress. So comments, likes, subscribe on YouTube, invite some friends to this Facebook group so I can get it popping. I want to eventually make the conversation more about you in this group and how I can serve you. And I can only do that with those comments and you chit-chatting and you just getting the conversation flowing. I love y'all. And Cody and I think we're going to go for another walk if he ever wakes up for this nap. Have a great night.